Africa, get ready for the biggest esports showdown of 2025. Taking place between the 10th to the 13th of July in Cape Town, Grand West Entertainment World. Get ready for 150,000 Rand in prize pool featuring Fortnite, Rocket League, Call of Duty Mobile, EAFC, Valorant, and today we get to announce for the very first time an international opportunity, taking the winner all the way to the United States to compete for a $200,000 prize pool. Brawlhalla players, now's your time to rise as you get ready to be able to compete for the one opportunity to be the representative from South Africa to qualify for BCX. This is where legends rise. Get ready for AGC 2025. Head over to the URL to register now, acgl.gg/AGC. The crown awaits.
Hello everybody and welcome back to AGC 25, and this is a LAN event for those of you who are not aware. It has been a long and eventful day here at the Grand West Arena in Cape Town. Multiple games being played out throughout the day, but now time to jump into some Valorant action. We have the semi-final of the Valorant Open Division coming at you throughout the course of the day. 10 teams played in 2 groups, fighting it out for their chance to be here in the semi-final. I'm Naim Zuki, I'm one of your casters today, and I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Savage Panda. How you doing this evening?
I'm good. One of those 3 things are true, so you get to decide which one. But great. Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, that hurt. But yes, true. Well done. Jeez, turning self-deprecating over back on myself. But yeah, happy to be here. AGC 25. It's been an exciting day. I've been catching up on all the community streams, trying to watch as many games as possible. Unfortunately, haven't seen every single game because I did tell production that I was going to be sleep all day today until 4 o'clock, and I did do that. So shout out to everybody who was watching these games and got all the details in for me, and I appreciate y'all. But yeah, it seemed like it was a banger of a day. Some high intense action, some good matches from start to finish. Group 2 looks like it was the highest competitive group. Group 1 looks like it was just free reign for Triple G and Craig. So, you know, feeder group, I think you would call it in the streets.
I mean, I would call Group A the group of death, I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of strong competition there, and if you were unlucky enough to get slotted into that group, no names being, you were in trouble. But let's take a look at the prize pool for this weekend. Remember that we've had a lot of tournaments throughout the year leading up to this for our open division, and of course now it all culminates here in this incredible LAN prize pool of 30,000 Rand. First place will walk away with 15 of that, second place with 9, and third place with 6,000 Rand. Now, I did mention that we had 10 teams that came into today. Some of them would be very new to LAN. Some of them are absolute veterans of the LAN stage. Now, the newbies, I'm talking teams like Expendables, who, as I understand it, are actually a school team that's slotted in there. Omnius Gaming Ethereal, the ladies roster of Omnius Gaming, their first LAN, their second competitive event ever. You know, I'm looking at teams like, you know, possibly even ORX or Pandacity, right? Like, these are players that maybe don't have as much experience on LAN. And then we get the veterans. Then we get the Craigs of the world. We get Thuy and Toothless, who won under the Nixa banner in 2 years ago, so 2023, at the Rage LAN that we had. We've got some strong competition coming out of this. Ultimately, only 4 of those 10 teams were able to make it into our semi-finals today. And I say today, we are only going to have one semi-final today. The second semi-final, the third, fourth place decider, and the grand final will all take place tomorrow. I believe on the main stage. I stand to be corrected. And then those casters will be coming at you live from the Grand West Arena. So very, very exciting. But we'll kick things off here with our first semi-final. And if you weren't sure, our 4 teams that made it through were Craig, Pandacity Prodigies, Goblin Gang Gaming, who recently won the Valorant Grind tournament, and Gascom Esports. Now, for our first game, Craig versus Pandacity Prodigies. Panda, why don't you break down this map set for us?
I mean, looking at Craig's map pick, I think they're trying to get a stop. I'm not sure if you were around during the WRG versus Socks Up or ATK versus Socks Up meta. Ascent was sort of the pick that you took when you, I'm going to put this in big quotes, disrespected your opponent. When you tried to show them, hey, you know, we'll beat you on this map and then we'll take the series. And I think that's sort of the strong suit that Craig are going for. Just an early dominant Ascent pick. Go for a nice 12-1, go home, and then sort of break the mental for Bind. But I am sad that they banned Corrode because I don't want to see Corrode today.
Unlucky. I know we've actually seen some Corrode in VCT China, which kind of threw everybody for a loop. Some crazy compositions coming there. I was hoping maybe some of our teams had watched some of those games, taken some ideas. Maybe we'd see something crazy. But let's face it, highly unlikely. It's a pretty bog standard set of maps as well. Ascent and Bind, 2 of the oldest maps that we have in the pool. And then, of course, Sunsets. Which, again, I mean, it's becoming a little bit of a South African favorite. We're starting to see it more and more frequently recently. So looking forward to seeing how that does play out. Now, as I mentioned, we have some relatively inexperienced players, and then we have some champions coming through on this Craig roster. Now we've got our comps coming up, and as we're taking a look at this, Panda, what are you expecting out of our series today?
It's all default comps as well. You know, the only variance you see is like a Deadlock pick and a Cypher pick, but it's pretty much stock standard. You got your Info Gatherer, you got your Smokes, you got your Entry. No flashes though for Craig. I think they're probably relying on like the Deadlock E in order to enter into sites and stuff like that there. We've got Ginger Man playing, who Ginger Man we saw in Grind was like absolutely dominant with Easy. Like they were crushing it. So him coming now on the Craig roster on land should be a really, really fun prospect, you know, to watch. And Hachi is back, which we're all faithfuls.
Yeah, yeah, you know, he's back again, baby. Who would have expected? All right, folks. Let's jump into our first match here of the semi-final. Craig versus the Pandacity Prodigies. Maybe a bit of a surprise coming through into the semi-final, but maybe with a bit of a point to prove here. Their first hurdle is going to be a strong one. This double Sentinel comp is very oppressive on this map.
Yeah, it's going to be one that I'm really going to be dissecting piece by piece, because not having flashes to entry, especially if you're trying to get this sort of delayed pop entry to a site. Actually, they're trying to get a walk up, not making any noise. And it looks like Craig have completely warmed their way into the A site here, and they've broken apart the defense. But Pandacity is strong on their hold. They've got 2 watching from spawn, and there's the first drop as well. Stale manages to take the 1, and that might just completely break apart this defense here. But the flash, oh, pretty stuff. Toothless gets 2 on the other side. Now the numbers are in Craig's favor, 3-2. Spawn still hasn't gone down. Whitesig through the smoke, very deadly and dangerous. Pandacity Gaming almost managing to take a timing there. Spike goes down, 40 seconds on the clock. Last player is remaining as Pandacity Gaming did try to take that swing. Now Dewey diving into heaven. Might be a foregone conclusion at this point, but an attempt needs to be made by Noodle. Gets the swing, gets the spot. Toothless goes, sorry, Ginger Man goes down. Maybe there's a way he can work this, because now the health bars don't look so pretty for Craig. There's Dewey, takes the first swing. Good for it. There's the stall. Trying to make some noise. Almost 10 seconds remaining on the clock, and now Dewey sitting inside the smoke. Yeah, it's a bit of a dance around, but Craig looks like they're going to come on top of it. Noodle is going to try and get some alt ops, at least to work with. First round to Craig, but what a round by Pandacity.
Yeah, I mean, they kept it relatively close there. Unfortunately, not really close to getting the defuse, but a lot of damage done. And I think that they'll be feeling pretty good about how that one went off. I think that there's also a moment where Pandacity are like, how the hell did Jet get into heaven? Uh, there definitely were a few gaps in the defensive line there. You actually had two players in the defender's spawn, waiting for clearly a push up mid, maybe waiting for that flanker to come through. But Tree was a definite weakness in their defensive line that Craig could take advantage of. Well done to Pandacity for keeping it close, though. We'll see if they can keep that trajectory. Unfortunately, of course, not going to be able to bring any guns into this round. Maybe they can still make some miracles happen.
And it's good opening protocols at the end of the day by Pandacity. Pandacity? Yeah.
Pandacity.
I like Pandacity. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I've been corrected twice today about how to pronounce it.
I
First
only know
kill.
because I was on the roster like as a coach for all of 5 minutes. So
Oh,
if I didn't know,
okay.
that would be very concerning.
Two drop on the eco around here for Pandacity. As Craig are looking to make a pretty simple one out of this. They did fully buy into this round. They probably don't want to lose a single person. And as I say, that Toothless goes down in garage. They do have a gun here, Pandacity, and maybe can make something out of it, but they don't know about the lurker. Ginger Man slowly creeping up as Stale and the boys are making this one a difficult round. Spam is good, and there's the last 2-0.
The round 2 Ares is crazy. Okay, we're not going to be holding on to that, it seems. I think that is the right call to make. Pandacity at least keep it relatively expensive, so they're going to force a little bit of a reinvest here. Nothing too crazy, but they are buying into a couple of Spectres here just to try and keep things on a fairly even kilter, because of course Pandacity are going to be coming into this round fully locked and loaded. Odin out in full force, round 3. All right, man. I mean, we've seen crazier things. Let's see if they can get some similar kind of results off of that. And oh, missed. What a shot from down long.
Jeez, beautiful opener as well. And Pandacity, that's kind of what you want in order to get yourself on the board. Punishing these early peaks here. That slowed down Craig's whole game plan. Well, Craig is known to sort of play the slower entry. They've been this way, you know, since the days of old, since ATK, since Nixa. And then they finally get a good entry pop. Still gets that kill. Sweet. And that's a free gun upgrade with nearly no damage. In fact, no damage at all was taken. And that might make things difficult here on the retake for Pandacity. Plant is going to go down. Beautiful spot there. Can't get the spam though. Recon Bolt was able to ping Stale. Now the retake has to begin, but the Gravnet holds them all in place. There's the swing into heaven, but 2 kills for Pandacity. Now that puts them in a 3-for-1 advantage. Paranoia being held up in Prime as 2 are going to try and come in from Garden. Swings in, doesn't get spotted. Tootlet's been waiting for that kill, traded well. And now it's a 1v1, last standing. And it's Odin versus a Bulldog, 2 guns you don't want in a retake situation. A tap has to happen, and it does. Dewey doesn't see him. Tries to get the workaround. It's a dancing dance of Dewey with a sweet kill. Pushing Craig up another round. It's 3-0.
I mean, you don't mess with Thuy, man. When I saw it was a 1v1 and I saw it was Thuy still alive, I was like, yeah, nah, man's got this. Fun fact for those that don't know, first in South Africa to hit Radiant when we got servers. And as mentioned a little bit earlier on, a LAN champion currently. So in that final moment, look, Pandacity are doing really well to keep these rounds close. But I think a lot of that is Craig maybe being a little bit overconfident. We're seeing them kind of take solo swings, solo peaks, not necessarily playing off of each other as much as they could be. And I think that that will clean up. If the rounds continue to be close like this, we might see them actually start to clean that up a little bit. But right now, they're just kind of relying on their individual ability. And so far, it's just enough to kind of keep pulling them over the finish line in each of these rounds. But Pandacity, this is not a team that you can kind of turn your nose up at. They've done really well to get here. They went, I believe, 3-1 in the groups. So they had a really strong performance. Yes, they weren't in that group of death that I spoke about, but you don't want to take away anything from them. They've worked hard to get here. So for Craig, I think there's going to need to come a moment where they go, maybe we take this a little bit more seriously, guys.
Yeah, and I think it's those punishments that you were talking about that Pandacity have sort of been subjecting Craig to that makes them really rethink. We saw in A as well, there was the swing on the entry that Stale was trying to make and immediately got pinged by Recon Bolt, and he nearly got punished for it. And I think so. If Pandacity can keep putting that sort of pressure on top of Craig is going to have to, fully start respecting a lot of these pushes, respecting a lot of these entries, respecting the defense. And it's not to say, like you said, Pandacity, it's not to say that they didn't come out from a hard group. They fought. They were 3 wins and almost didn't make it because Sin nearly, they were facing Sin. And if they didn't beat Synthesis in that one, we'll be talking a different story. So they are fighters through and through from start to finish. And I'm expecting to see them make this one a difficult game. Also, Hachi is retired. Please, guys.
Quote unquote.
He's a retired old man. Like, don't let this old man beat you. I'm begging you guys, okay?
Retired is relative, all right. I'm not gonna go too in depth on that, but I'm just go ahead and say retired is relative, and everybody that knows, if you know, you know.
I mean, but also shout out to the boys. I don't know how much Craig has played in not just the last 2 weeks, but Valorant in general, since a lot of them has stopped playing for a long time. The next group so that hasn't played in a minute. So Thui and Toothless. We have seen Gingerman and Stale. They've been consistent. Actually, I don't know when last he even touched the controller. So for them to come off the backs of not playing the game for a long time and now being at a semi-final of the first LAN, it kind of speaks to that skill level. I think I said to Rigger earlier, you can't beat experience. Yeah. And that it speaks to the experience that these guys have had in this game for the longest time. They've been here. They understand how the games work. They understand it can be any meta at all. They'll always be able to just come back and completely dominate.
Yeah, I mean, it really is impressive that you are able to kind of continue to do this well despite that. I think what a lot of people might not know is just on the train of thought of Nixa, Two-Face is actually playing on Martis. Didn't make it into...
Oh, yes! Yeah.
Didn't make it into the semis, unfortunately, but a lot of seasoned talent competing here. But pause is over. We dive straight back in. It looks like it is going to be another A posture, another A hit. And look at all of this Sentinel utility. They are so ready for this push to come through again.
Yeah, and they're also highly wary about the ultimate situation that Craig have. The Annihilation is up, so all of them were playing offside. They just put all that Sentinel utility to try and stop them at the door. The issue though with this is that you have basically no map control. You've stacked everybody and your utility here, so there's nothing telling you whether they're pushing up on B, whether they're working the map mid. And so as you see now, they have to use the KO knife or the recon bolt nice and early and short in order to try and get an idea of where Craig is. But to their advantage, Craig has not pushed any positions until this point. That's the first shot. Lovely dink as Gingerman loses most of his HP, 145 to the head.
30 seconds left.
And now Craig have decided to actually begin their push with 30 seconds remaining as Stale goes down, and that's a free gun, and there's a second kill. Now Newell has a gun, and that's gonna make this retake a whole lot prettier for Pandacity.
Spike planted.
They do have the numbers advantage, and they do have the space, so they can completely choke Craig into an unfavorable position. Annihilation doesn't catch anybody, as Mist was able to get out of position just in time. Paranoia on the first swing. Sound Sensor is going to get the ping here. Lovely smoke screen stops the movement. 2 for 1 in favor of Craig. And there's the recon bolt. They don't have anything to shoot it. No, they do get it down. But Nixa, Dewey, and Hachi, the experience showing its face once again. And now they've made this a 2v1. And they're going to spot Patterson in gaming and clean it up. What a round by Craig.
If Dewey is alive, it's always winnable, man. That is my mantra. This bro led Nixa to a crazy 5-map victory on LAN. Like, I will never doubt what is possible if he is alive and on the server. But for Pendacity, I mean, it's another round where they get so much done with sheriffs as well. Part of me is thinking, like, maybe, you know, you do a bit of damage, steal some guns, maybe just back the hell out. But knowing that they could buy into the next round, they thought, okay, well, let's push it. Let's give it a try and see how far we can go. Unfortunately, could not go very far.
Yeah, and it just keeps getting worse and worse as more of their efforts are just shut down completely. Lovely first kill, but gaming. And maybe this is now the position where it gets better for Pendacity as they've taken down the smokes for Craig. However, it's these slow peaks, these angles here that shouldn't favor Pendacity Rocket, but he does manage to get the kill with 11 HP remaining. And now Craig are in a very tough spot. Noodle losing so much HP. Trying to return to main. Probably heard a sound cue here from Stale. Stale takes the swing, takes out Noodle. And Marshall only is going to take out Hachi. And now it's looking a little bit prettier for Pendacity. As Ginger Man is left all alone. It seems like all they needed was a second gun round in order to, you know, brush up their protocols, get themselves in a good position.
I have retrieved the
They're
spike.
able to, hopefully, no cost occurs, claim this round.
30 seconds left.
Walk up, 30 seconds remaining. They're not giving him any 1v1s, sort of letting him choose where he wants to go. And as much as this is a good thing, it could also be a bad thing. Fake tap. Now there's a communication. Let everybody know that he is on the B side. Recon Bolt is gonna get the ping spam with the Odin. He doesn't shoot it. Ginger Man, brave soul, still alive, 50 HP. Gonna try and get the swing here. Nobody's gonna peek him, and there's the first kill. And now the Ural Dev. This could be the clutch round that he needs for the Odin spam. Sam's favorite gun,
Ugh.
which is the 241.
Ugh, end me. Dewey came so close to shutting down the Odin, but 11 HP wasn't good enough to complete that. And this is a great round from Pendacity. And again, I gotta call out Craig for being a little bit too overconfident. The way that they split up across the map, sure, I mean, it's a little bit of a default, but they don't then regroup. They're kind of taking space. I mean, you've got Jet who's pushed onto A. Meanwhile, your Deadlock is pushing into B main, trying to solo fight an Odin while holding the spike. You got two players caught in mid, haven't been able to cross yet. They're so far away from anything. Like, this is a little bit messy.
It is. Good round, though, at the end of the day by Pendacity. Grabnet is going to catch. Missed. As the Hunter's Fury is going to try and take a couple of kills as well to push onto the mist. Did not work out. And now Stale is being spammed through with 36 HP remaining. There's a nice ping for the Hunter's Fury. Doesn't go for the shot, though. And he tries to take out some from the side. Pendacity holding with all of their life. Toothless is on the side, but he falls eventually. And now it's just Hachi left with Dewey, the two faithfuls. And the chaotic round in the beginning has sort of simmered down to what seems like Pendacity is cooking. Noodle on the flank to try and catch them out. They have no HP to work with. Think if there's anybody on the rotator now, Noodle with so much information to feed to the rest of the team. The timing, though, as none of them spot each other, they're both looking the other way. And that opens up Dewey to try and get a push into mid. Still no spots on either side. And Dewey's just going to walk up into Garden for
30
free.
seconds left.
30 seconds remaining. Not enough time here, but Craig are trying to make a meal out of it. And still unspotted. Recon Ball doesn't see anybody on the site. The angles are good from Rocket and from Gaming. There is a moment, an opportunity.
10 seconds left.
Rocket's gonna get the kill, and that ends it. That's the round for Pendacity. Noodle cleans up, and it's over. It's 4-2.
I mean, they've got this locked down, man. That double sentinel composition can work really well on defense, but on attack, you're going to struggle. It's like you said, not having a flash, not being able to take space in the ways that you'd like to be able to. And again, taking fights a little bit too messy. This is not a good look, man. We spoke about how important experience is, but Pandacity is a team that's been scrimming. They've been around. The org itself has been around for quite some time, but the team also, they scrim, they prac, they play together constantly, consistently, and sometimes experience is good, but consistency is king.
Consistency is king, and they're consistently showing us that it's working right now. Dewey, though, shutting all of that down. He swings into mid, and those mid aggression by Craig. It's incredible to watch. Not only are they able to take a kill from it, but they do a lot of damage to the operator. You want to get value out of your operator, especially in rounds like this, where they don't have good weaponry in order to push with. Low on the round now for Craig as they try and get themselves composed, try and get their information right, try and figure out exactly where they can push. And they've chosen the A side. Noodles, Turret's gonna get the spot. Marshall only, lovely on the movement. Also gets the smoke screen down as he's gonna get 2 and get himself out of there. 20 HP remaining, but he does put Pandacity into an advantage. And there's the operator with the first shot. And not only that, they have a lockdown to work with. Marshall only gets another kill. And they're peppering them down. And Marshall only gets the 4th. And now Hachi has nothing to work with. Slowed down. He falls. Tenacity. Where did you come from?
Yeah, I'll be real, not having a Killjoy on Ascent is wild, and Pandacity using this composition to great effectiveness. Very, very impressive. I mean, we saw those first 4 rounds, and yes, Craig won them, but it was like they were close, and I kept saying they keep keeping these rounds close, and if that continues to be a trend, we are going to see some problems for Craig. And that round looked a little bit more coordinated, but still post-plant. I mean, I say post-plant, they didn't even get the chance to get into post-plant. They were completely denied space on the site. This is starting to look a little bit worrying. And they're also forcing into this as well. We've got a hero rifle for Thui, so you know, maybe he can make some magic happen with that. But the rest is just stingers across the board. Like magic, I mean, it's gonna need a miracle at this point.
Yeah, all miracles are seen at land. So maybe this will be the one that they need in order to get this advantage back. But the operator is not gonna allow it. Is that a new spam point? That's incredible. Manages to get some bullets through the wall there. So they do pepper some damage, but Toothless has walked up into their face as Rocket goes down. Operator is still there though, but they have the dark cover, and the amount of smokes that they are almost getting another kill. Ginger Man, the null command coming in from Pandacity. Gonna start their retake. In fact, the spike hasn't gone down, and they can't put it down as the entire team of Pandacity has walked in for the retake. They're flooding in, 40 seconds remaining. And only Hachi, left alone, has HP to work with. Seen this man clutch before, but with just a stinker in hand. The protocols are still good from Pandacity. Only Noodle falls, but Marshall only cleans it up. It's 4-4.
Ooh, it's looking messy. You spoke about protocols. That's what Pandacity has. Craig, I said it earlier, they're relying on their individual brilliance, their kind of individual mechanical skill. Eventually, that stops being kind of the make or break thing. You can work around that. If you can isolate fights, you can easily deal with something like that. And that's what Pandacity are doing. And it's one of the things that I always talk about with teams as well. Like if you are playing against a team that is better than you, your best option is to isolate duels. And a lot of teams just, they can't get it right. But Pandacity, they found that sweet spot. They found exactly the weak point for Craig. Now Craig back in with a buy and a beautiful opener here. This could be the change that they need.
Yeah, and they also get a second kill as well as the Annihilation is going to take out one, and Gingerman's going to fall as well. And that's basically the whole structure of Pandacity. That's the earliest save I think I've ever seen. A minute 14, completely tucked out and walking away. There's nothing they can do here. Yeah, going to maybe try something, and it looks like they're posturing forward, probably looking for the exits. But this round is over, and it goes to Craig.
Well, yep, that round was over before it even began. And you can't even say, like, the Annihilation did help, obviously, but you can't even say that it was a round that they won off the back of ultimates. Like, that first kill onto the Odin player, onto Rekt, that obviously gives them a lot of space to work with. Then the Annihilation follow-up completely opens up the B site. But then you've got somebody from Pandacity getting a little bit too eager on that lurk out towards mid. And getting caught out there means that, well, Pandacity don't really have a way back into this round. So it's a good turnaround from Craig. And they're going to be able to potentially... Yeah, they come into this round with tons of cash available to them. They're going to be feeling really comfortable with how that went. Now the question is, can they continue on this trajectory? Because obviously Pandacity still have money. They're still able to buy in. They're still going to be, you know, running the same strengths that we've seen in a lot of these rounds. They've still got From the Shadows available, but no other ultimates online here. A lot of them got used fairly early on. Meanwhile, on the other side, okay, Theory definitely doesn't still have Annihilation. I think that's just a little bit of a visual glitch, but they've got the Hunter's Fury, so that could be a huge difference maker.
Yeah, they do have a lot to work with. Only using one ultimate in the last round. In the city, though, they still have the economy to kind of make these rounds difficult for Craig. But that is sort of a speak on the experience of Craig. They don't even need a timeout to just brush things up. There's something they probably communicated in between rounds, or as the round was playing out, and they managed to just immediately bounce back from what was a 4-round hit by Pandacity. And now that puts us in a situation, by where both these teams have chosen to completely freeze, early gather of information, and then just hold here, waiting for a mistake to happen. And they're gonna go on a lovely pop here. Craig gets spotted by the knife. And Dewey takes the first bam through the smoke. Our cover not able to fully hold, and they're trying to take more space here as they heard the Noodle is gonna get the trade kill. In fact, Noodle's still on the side, they didn't even know. And that's 2 kills to Pandacity. They do have weaponry here to try and make a retake happen, but they don't know that Dewey is waiting. Sorry, Gingerman is waiting behind. And that puts Marshall only in a 1 versus 3. Market door opens, but it's all a ruse. Toothless to clean it out, and that's 6-4.
There you go. That's the coordination we were looking for. Some solid smokes to shut down the sightlines. Despite the fact that the knife came through, their smoke actually managed to land in time, and that stopped anyone from Pandacity wanting to push out. So you respecting the smokes. And then, of course, the South African staple, the smoke spam, that got them their opening kill. And at that point, Pandacity, you can see they kind of start to play a little bit scared. They're playing a bit safer. They're not being able to take that space. They don't have a flash initiator to help them get onto the site, and they've become very reliant on those flashes. Craig, not as reliant, clearly, and so they're able to continue pushing through, pushing forward, dry swinging, and continuing to take space that maybe they shouldn't be able to, that a lot of teams might struggle to do. You know, that experience that we spoke about a bit earlier, starting to shine again. They're cleaning up their act a bit more. They're looking a lot more cohesive.
Yeah, they really are. In Pandacity, they still should be able to get these rounds here from Craig, but they need to clean things up. Sale on the entry as Toothless takes out Gaming. Noodle pops all Sentinel utility, does get the kill onto Scale. Stale, sorry. A bit of damage was done to him. Marshall only is waiting inside the dark cover. Recon Bolt only gonna spot Rocket. And Gingerman is here again on this lurk. This time Mist was ready for it, but can't do anything because Gingerman is just gonna get all 3 for free.
Okay,
7-4.
man. It's a chilly Friday evening, but apparently Gingerman is heated up. Bro is sitting on that heater. Wow, just back-to-back consecutive headshots. Beautiful. And that felt like a bit of a foregone conclusion of a round. You kind of knew how that one was more or less likely to go, but Pandacity have done really well even with low buys in previous rounds. Now, however, it's the last round in the half, last chance saloon for them to snag one more round, but before they have to deal with the double Sentinel defense.
Yeah, and maybe I'm more of a hopeful here for Pandacity. Maybe, you know, people like Rigger finally got to me, but I do see a version of the story where the deadlock does work on the attack. But it's something we'll have to see when Something we'll have to see when the rounds flip. In the meantime, Panda City Gaming have one more chance here to try and get around, but the Annihilation is going to stop them at the door. Misty gets the first kill onto Stale, but it's just for Duelist. Yeah, trying to work numbers through Garden. The Graveness is just going to completely stop them at the door. Toothless is going to get one, and Gingerman's going to get another, and now Pandacity still managed to get some of the trades. They have 3 up. Time is falling, though. They don't know that there's one on the side, and Toothless gets a free round, and then push from Noodle, trying to get something going on here to stop the Hunter's Fury, and Marshall only can't do it. Not enough time. 8-4.
These post plants from Craig have been kind of nuts. The way that they're able to run down that clock and keep playing time, very impressive. Okay, it looks like Thui's like whole bar is a little bit bugged at the moment. I promise he does not have a phantom in the pistol round. I promise, guys. So we'll try and get that sorted out when we eventually change maps. But for now, we move. And yes, this has been a very strong performance from Craig. Okay, they kind of slipped up a little bit in the mid there. But again, I think that they were being punished for being a little bit overly confident. Now, however, they've realized, okay, this isn't necessarily a team that we can take, you know, too many liberties with. So gonna have to try and pull ourselves towards ourselves a bit more, and we are seeing that coordination come through. Here's the big terrifying moment, however, the double Sentinel, Cypher on B, Deadlock on A, mid is being locked down by Stale, who we know is terrifying on Duelist.
Yes, a lot to try and break here for Pandacity. But they do manage to take a lot of space mid falls, though. Noodle drops to Stale, but market door is closed, and they are basically at entry's door, but they can't get in. They're being locked out by Gingerman. Rocket falls to Hachi after taking out Gingerman. And that's the whole hit, just gone immediately before it can even materialize to anything. Because Craig has too much utility to hold this. They have recons coming in from market. They have a Duelist that can shoot anybody. And it's looking like Craig are going to run away with this game.
All right, calm down there. There's still a chance. We're only on map number 1, Panda. Gosh. But I mean, you're not wrong. It's looking a little bit one-sided at the moment. Pandacity have shown so many signs of possibility, of growth, of strength. So I think that there's definitely a world where we can see them start to bring this back. Okay, they've bought into a Sheriff here for Mist. And we've seen some pretty spicy Sheriff shots from them, but is it going to be enough to maintain some of that control? Round 2 Aries from Gingerman, because why not, I guess?
It's your favorite gun. They know you're casting, so completely good purchase. Stale gets 2, though. And it's sort of this thing with Duelists. You want them to be getting these ults. You flash yourself, mate. You can't do that. Hachi comes in as well, and they don't have a full buy. They have 2 pistols to work with. And the Sheriff has done nothing for Pandacity. It's 10-4.
I'll be honest, that's not the first time we've seen a team flash. There was actually a round on the defensive side where Gaming flashed into mid. They were trying to go for the, I think it was called the DRX mid push. But he like flashed out Mist. And then Mist got paranoid out as well and somehow lived. The only reason I didn't talk about it was because like he didn't die, which was kind of embarrassing. But it's not the first time that we've seen a bit of team flash action happening there. That was a round, however, that we didn't think they were going to win. Problem is, it's now double digits. Do or die for the Pandacity roster.
You don't want to be in this situation here if you're Pandacity Gaming. Look at this double hold. They have Aries just spamming down and a Judge waiting in close range. You do get the recon and that just flushes them out. There's the Judge. It does get value. And they get out before even trying to get the gun upgrade. No, they are going to go for it. In fact, Gingerman is taking some damage to try and get that weapon. Meanwhile, in A, there's a TP. Shot step by Toothless trying to dupe them into the entry. Thui's there though for the trade. So Pandacity still can't get their entry through. Meanwhile, on the other side, Hachi's gonna get a kill up in mid. And so now Pandacity They've only got 2 people left and 2 weapons to work with, and both of them are stuck in A main. They do have the spike, but what does that do? So much sentinel utility, so many guns aimed at you. It's nearly impossible to try and get an entry in. Maybe a freeze to the round, maybe the save is the call. But they're trying to look for some isolated jewel. 30 seconds remaining. And Craig, they're not giving them anything. Gravnet is going to immediately stop that. And there's the swing. 1 for 1. And Dewey takes the loss. 11-4 to Craig.
Listen, this is the problem with playing a team like Craig. Because they are so confident, they're going to do crazy stuff. They're going to push out aggressively into B main with a judge, and they're not going to care. And they're going to keep doing really weird stuff like that. I mean, Stale pushing out a B main 2 rounds back and just getting 2 because no one was watching for it. Like, it's these cheeky plays. I mean, that's not even the first time that they've done the B main aggression. But they continue to get value out of it. And look at Pandacity. These full sends, this lack of a strong default has been a major weak point in their attacking half.
And it's still trying to full send it here, and they're being met by so much resistance. Stutless takes out a lot of this team. And again, there's only 2 remaining versus 3. And if your Pandacity being put in these situations over and over and over again must be such a beatdown for your mental. And you gotta have a strong focus if you're trying to attack, especially against a team like Craig. The wall is gonna completely shut down the hedge here. They do break it eventually, but what is that gonna do? Lovely shot by Marshall only. Ginger Man sizes him up at the end. It's a 3v1. There's the old man. 12-4 for Craig.
Yeah, you know the old saying, if that was a Vandal, he would have died. Yeah, well.
You're right. Different round.
Smokes player, though. If you're playing Vandal as a Smokes player, then I've got questions. But here we go. Map point for Craig. So close to the finish line on map number 1, their own map pick, and they have looked so dominant throughout part of the first half and the second half in particular. They haven't conceded a single round now. Last chance saloon for the Pandacity squad. They need 1 round and then another, what, 7?
I mean, it all starts with starting, am I right? And you gotta start by making value out of these entries. The mid push was good, but still, getting a kill was the extremities of the map, and it looks like Misty now is gonna be able to take one, but gets traded through the smoke. Meanwhile, Middle Noodle tries to go for a 2 versus 1. But you're never gonna win the numbers game in that position. Gaming has so much damage done to him. Ginger Man is trying to pepper the last full HP member of Pandacity. But again, there's a 2v3 here for Pandacity Gaming. And these difficult positions that they're being put in over and over and over again. It's not pretty. He does have 14 HP. And nobody is watching the spike. And so maybe there's a world where a single hole can be exploited here by Pandacity. It all starts with the push by Toothless, realizing that he's disrespecting that position a little too much. Getting punished for it. He goes all the way back. Decides to go from the shadows into B. 30 seconds remaining, so noting that the numbers game should be a better prospect for them. Grab gets the catch. That's spam through the dark cover.
10 seconds
And with 10
left.
seconds remaining, Gaming doesn't have much that he can do. Trying to at least take some kills. But how are you going to cling to the round with all that time falling away? Craig takes map 1, 13-4.
I've got to give it to Thuy, man. I think he's one of the most intuitive deadlocks that I've seen play. Because I don't believe in deadlock. Rigger and I often have this argument. He's a
Rigger,
believer.
are you hearing this? Are you hearing this, dog?
Oh, no, Rigger knows. Rigger knows. Don't worry about it. I'm not a believer. But the amount of value that Thuy was getting, particularly with the grav nets, was insane. And I call it intuitive because it's very reactionary. And he times things so perfectly. And he gets so much value, so many kills off the back of that little piece of utility. So he really does put some, or force some respect onto the deadlock name. So you know what? Take it Take it where it comes from. Now, of course, our scoreboard and our MVP might surprise you. Clickbait title, it's Toothless.
Yeah, I would have given it to Tui. Like you said, like with an agent like Deadlock, you want to be able to use your grab nets and your walls in such a positive position, especially on attack. And we did see that coming from him. And he has a lot of kills, to showcase that it wasn't just a util bot. He was actually aiming with the rest of the Craig roster. So I would have given it to him, but hey, Toothless had a high ACS, did a lot of damage. His dark covers were on point. The whole team had good hits from top to bottom. Even Ginger Man came to the party. And look at the scores. They're all pretty close to each other. They leveled 13, 14, 13, 15, 14. So the whole team as a whole is MVP in my eye.
Well, yes. I will just point out, and I know I've been glazing theory like mad, but man only has 7 deaths in 17 rounds of Valorant. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. He's a gamer. He's a gamer. But Pandacity, obviously, they had their shining moments as well. Mist had some incredible moments. The Blade Storm as well got so much value out of that in a lot of those rounds. So looking forward to seeing what we might have as we move over onto our next map. Now, this is, of course, going to be the pick of Pandacity. It's going to be Bind, and this is a map that obviously relatively recently coming back into the map pool, much to many, the chagrin of many. But it is back, for better or for worse. The teleporters are back in action. But here's the thing. I think that this is another map where we could see Craig pull out that crazy Deadlock Cypher comp again, because Cypher has always been good on Bind, and Deadlock has always been forced on Bind, and it has, in previous, in other games that we've seen before, has managed to find some value. So we could just see a repeat of that really cheesy, nasty comp.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was in APAC where we saw the Deadlock first being played a lot more. With the Deadlock raise combos, I believe, the grab net into paint shells.
Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, that aside, combos aside, I do believe Deadlock provides so much into bleeding utility, bleeding bullets for every other team. There's so much focus when Deadlock utility pops in if you don't respect it, where it can just open up too many holes in your defense or in your attack, or it'll just lead to all your movements being punished. And it kind of squeezes. It's one of those agents where they have to be active, but if they're active in the right places, they can completely squeeze and box you in and put you in a very fearful state of not wanting to push certain areas, not wanting to go in certain places because there may be a sound sensor there, and so if a bullet goes off, you screwed. They may be. It's the breach South African mentality, but better.
Oh Lord, please! You make that sound like the breach mentality is good. Listen, there are things that Rigger and I disagree on, and a hatred of breach is something that we are hand in hand with, bro. We fully agree on that one. Breach is pure bait. But it's a South African staple because it can get results. A lot of teams don't know how to deal with it, and if you find a gap in the reactionary possibilities of another team, and that gap happens to be a breach, well, who am I to tell you not to? It's the same with the Odin, really. As far as I'm concerned, an Odin is counted by aiming better, which, I'm sorry, I know how dumb that sounds, but this is a first-person shooter. So, and Thui has proven it. I think we saw somebody in the regular... What were we casting when we saw somebody beat an Odin with a stinger? It was grind, yeah, like a stinger beat the Odin, okay? My understanding of this is not incorrect, but many teams cannot do that. So if you can find that problem, if you can find that chink in the armor and expose it and dig at it, then by all means, pick up your 3 or 4 Odins and show me how you're going to take advantage of it. Please don't actually do that, though, because I think I'll have an aneurysm.
Yes, please do it. Do it on live.
No.
I beg of you guys. It will be such a great watch. And the watch will be us watching Sam just completely cringe and die inside.
Joke's on you. There's no camera while the game is on, so you won't see. I mean, you might hear it, but you won't see it. Producers should make it happen, surely, hopefully. But yeah, Bind again is one of these. It's one of these maps that I was talking about earlier, where teams like Craig, teams that have been here for the last 4 years, they will pick or they will thrive in these sort of maps because these are sort of the
we don't need strategy. We're just here to kill kind of maps. You know, you just pick a race, and if you ever disrespect the race on bind, you will die. If you ever disrespect, and I think at one point they were Fade comps, they were Sky comps when Sky was still one of the best picked agents, initiators of our time. You know, like you said, there's a Cypher. There's even Chamber comps that just make spacing so much better, like completely shut you out of pushing long, of pushing into showers, or pushing into so many areas. And a lot of these, they don't need layered strategies. They just need good aim and people with good intuition into the game. And that's where you get people like Dewey, like Hachi, like Ginger Man, and Stale that we've seen in the last 2 weeks on Grind. And Toothless as well, one of the old faithfuls. And people like that, they'll just completely adapt and drive and counter your strategy without even having to think about it.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. I'm also hoping that we might see a Yoru come through. I think Yoru is severely underrated on Bind. His, the potential with those teleporters is exceptional, but we might not see that kind of bravery coming out today. I think that for Pandacity, it's an idea of tried and true. It's about what we know works and perfecting that. And for Craig, the kind of surprises that they're going to be bringing is a bit more in terms of control based, as in controlling the map, controlling the space, shutting you out, and not necessarily about doing wild things that you're not expecting. It's just about like shutting you down and making it clear that we are staking a claim on this map and you don't get to take any of that space. And of course, they're going to be getting to start on the defensive side this time around, assuming that's what they chose. They may have chosen attack for who knows whatever reason, but logic dictates that they should be starting on that defensive side. And if it is going to be that kind of cheesy double sentinel composition again, this could be very, very scary. But folks, it looks like they are trying to sort something out at the venue. So we're going to throw this one to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have map 2 ready for you. And welcome back once again, everybody, to AGC 25. Apologies for that break, but we are ready to dive into our second map. Before we do that, again, I just want to remind everyone we are live from the Grand West Arena in Cape Town, and spectators are welcome. So if you are in the Cape Town area, make sure to pull through tomorrow for the semi-final, the third, fourth place decider match, and the grand final. You can watch it all live in front of you. But for now, it's myself and it's Savage Panda, and we're going to be taking you through this first semi-final of the AGC 25 LAN. Our first map is done and dusted, a 13-4 affair in favor of who I would call the favorites in the entire tournament, in Craig. Pandacity. They had some shining moments. They had Craig a little bit on the back foot there in the first half of the first half, but Craig kind of pulled it together and they made it pretty darn dominant. Now we're heading on over to Bind. We did talk a little bit about that one. So Panda, what do we think that Pandacity need to do here to maybe have a better opportunity to maybe take us to that third map? Correct. Uh-oh, we have a mute issue.
Wait, I'm here. Hi.
Hey, there he
definitely
is.
Definitely did not mute myself by mistake. I was saying, no amount of anything that we do, anything we say as analysts, can sort of fully predict how the game goes. Crazy stuff can happen at any point in time, and I think when we did see Pandacity open up with some of those very good defensive protocols, I think there are areas in there that, the coach can look at or the captain can look at and go, hey, you know what? There's moments in here where we did some really, really amazing things. If we can tap into that and consistently, round after round after round, keep adapting these protocols, keep adapting these crazy ideas and crazy plays, maybe there's a shot for us to sort of just take this map away and then go to game 3.
Well, here we go. Our comps are coming up for us. And as I said, for Pandacity, it's all about tried and true. The Brimstone to be expected. The Fade and the Raze work so well together. The Omen is a bit of a weird one for me, particularly because of Paranoia, the fact that it's a near sight, and so many of the... Bind is such a close quarters map. Most of the time you're going to be in close quarters, so the near sight doesn't really come to fruition. But there are other things, of course, that the Omen brings to the table. I just think that I prefer a Viper. Over for Craig, however, a similar lineup, but there's that Sky that you were talking about a little bit earlier on, and a Vice. So very interesting in a different way. Again, I think I'd prefer a Viper, but you know how I feel about Viper. We'll see how this double initiator setup goes. This time around, double initiator and one sentinel, not two sentinels.
Yeah, it is on paper a cleaner comp for the boys at Craig. I will say I did hope for a Viper from Pandacity. I do know what they're trying to go for here with the double controller composition, especially on attack, but you do want a Viper in this map. It just makes it so much better and so much hits. Toothless and the boys at Craig are starting us off nice and hot here. Marshall only is gonna fall with the rest of Pandacity. His game goes down as well, and now Marshall only is left all alone, and that was a fast round by Craig. We were still analyzing the whole of this game.
Pistol rounds can be a little bit crazy, right? Sometimes they start off low and slow, and sometimes they're absolutely explosive, and that, of course, was the latter. Very strong performance from Craig there to shut that down as quickly as possible. I'll be curious to see how this comp continues to perform, because I think it's actually got a lot of strengths, and the fact that you're bringing in the Vice, who is a sentinel by role, but has that kind of quote-unquote initiator capability, adding that extra layer of flashes, that could become quite strong.
Yeah, I do like the Vice, especially on attack. That kind of does leave Craig with a few holes, I want to say, on their defense. And maybe because it's a close quarters map, they don't have to worry about defending too many positions. Oh, sorry, Pandacity in that light. But we'll have to see. Maybe we'll cross that bridge when we get there. They have taken the first round. In Pandacity, you don't have any weapons to work with here on the attack, and that's sort of why they just stuck waiting around in these entry positions. The damage done is Misty Tries to get that entry in. Hachi's gonna get the kill as the Vice Wall goes up too. He takes 2 as well.
Spike down A.
And there's only 1 player remaining, and it's gonna be a flawless here. The Pendacity, they're trying to get a couple of jump shots. Toothless takes that final round. Oh, Craig.
Yeah. That goes kind of as expected. I think that maybe we expected Pendacity to put up a little bit more of a fight, given what we saw from them on Ascent and how close they kept those first 4 rounds. I mean, it was really down to the wire in a lot of them, but this time around, not quite able to replicate those results a second time. Craig being quite dominant in their approach. If they continue along with that one, I see we've got a bit of a glitch on Noodle this time around, but fret not. We'll see exactly what she's got cooking when the round eventually does begin. For now, however, oh look, Ginger Man has an Aries. What a surprise.
And Ginger Man starting off nice and hot here, showing the fire of the Aries. Has 7 HP remaining, but a good kill. You do get the trade. Pendacity Gaming now stuck with the C's. The smoke is not going to allow them to get that kill. Stale, in the meantime, gets one in long on the walk up. That puts Pendacity Gaming in a bit of a tight spot with only 3 remaining. They're going to try and get an execution onto A, and they don't know that Dewey is still here because Noodle has gotten such a big walk up. Nobody got spotted, and now it's all just a timing game. And maybe it's going to be the Omen who's going to spot him there. Lovely haunt.
Planted.
And it might, yeah, it reveals Dewey completely in paranoia now for Marshall only to try and take some space, and he does get the kill for it. And now it's a 3 versus 2. Gun upgrades for Ginger Man and Toothless. So Craig are in a positive position here to try and get this attack going.
Okay.
Smash through the smoke. Oh my god. Nasty by Ginger Man. He takes low down once again. Lovely on the swing. Ginger Man gets the 3rd. They're waiting for the 4th to swing. Ginger Man. 4 kills in the round. It's 3-0.
Oh, that was a messy round from Craig. I'm not going to lie. Like, they start off really strong, and then Pendacity start rotating, right? Noodle takes all that space over towards A. She knows that she hasn't been able to clear showers, so she'll kind of calm that, and they'll throw out the haunt just to, you know, kind of stop anyone from pushing, or if they shoot it, then obviously you do know that there is someone there. And then Marshall only is able to kind of wrap around. Here's where things get weird, because somebody takes the TP, Stale, and then just kind of starts spraying without really kind of aiming at anything, and he's all on his own, so there's no one there to like trade him out to make sure that he's going to be okay. He goes on this like solo mission, and it very nearly ends in disaster, but Ginger Man saves the day.
Yeah, 100%. Pendacity, though, they weren't able to completely clean that round out, unfortunately. And so we're still looking at a difficult one for them as they're trying to at least get the first on the board. Meanwhile, Craig, even when they make mistakes, it just works out. Ginger Man gets another kill. Toothless gonna take the 2nd and long. And now Marshall only is trying to get the swing in paranoia and a team flash. No one can see anything, and they're all blind. But Craig falls eventually. Now it's a 3 versus 3. And you do have weapons to work with here. Ginger Man trying to get an early timing swing has to get out. It's a 2 versus 1. And he keeps poking and prodding. He's trying to push Craig into an advantageous position. Now an orb taken here by Mist. 2 off from the showstopper. They have to walk out. The spams by Ginger Man. Still unable to get the kill. He does have an orbital strike, and he looks like he might prime it. They're going with the C's as well. Mist was stuck, but wasn't enough to confirm the kill. Noodle takes the TP, and now everybody is here on B. So Pendacity has to rotate around, trades the gun. This is the messiest round from both of these teams. Sean and Steph, in order to get a high position, it's going to get spanned through, and finally the bomb is about to go down, and Marshall only takes on Ginger Man. And Hachi has to salvage something here. For Craig, gets the first kill, and again, they're all peppered. They have some damage to them. Tries to go through the wall. It's a fake, though. Hachi gets spammed through. Noodle with the cage to try and get the timing. Hachi's wise for it, and so he gets the kill, and now there's still enough time here to try and get a clutch. Don't know where Noodle is, but doesn't know that the cage went out. There's the flash. Nobody spotted. Hasn't gone for the tap yet, and finally has to try. They have a camera watching this entire time. Noodle playing a time well, has to take the swing. Noodle gets the kill. It's 3-1. Fantastic with the round.
Incredible clutch from her there. Oh my goodness. And that cage as well that denies those sightlines. Sure, Hachi's aware of it and he plays around it, but the proactive utility usage just to keep them alive that little bit longer. And you were right. That whole round was messy from both teams. Neither one of them really looked like they knew what was going on, but you've got to hand it to Pandacity. Their ability to make adjustments on the fly, get themselves in onto that site, get that spike planted and maintain control. Beautifully done. Now that's got to turn into a little bit of momentum here, and it's the perfect time to do so because look at this Craig buy. I mean, as a judge, a Bucky, 2 rifles, and a classic. Like, it's not ideal by any measure. Unfortunately, Pandacity themselves also struggling a little bit in the finance department. Noodle will still have a gun from the previous round though, so they'll be in a bit better sitting.
Yeah, and they start off hot here with the first kill. As Hachi falls, Dale trying to catch a timing, and he does. Noodle unspotted. And because Noodle's on the lurk, nobody's here to help her. But it does advance the rest of the team to push onto the side. Dewey falls, and that's the entire side to Pandacity. Toothless trying to run in for the flank, and he gets the kill. While he trying to take space. In heaven, in CT. Showstopper with the Seekers. Gonna spot a couple of positions. That's a whip. It's a Rosa. And so they're going to try and double swing, but Toothless is going to confirm that kill. Guns do it better. There's a second showstopper. Yeah, Toothless gets a third kill. The Rocket can't push. He's going to die. Toothless with a 4K. It's 4-1.
I mean, it was a pretty expensive round. I think they threw 2 ultimates into that, but they won the round. They've, you know, done some serious economic damage as well. This is going to be a little bit of a struggle for Pandacity to kind of stay into this. Now, they are going to force up despite that, which I'm not sure I necessarily agree with. But, I mean, they know that they can do it. They've done it. They've managed to pick up a round previously. They got a lot done. So, hoping that they can kind of lean on that again. But Hachi's he's bought into the Outlaw. This could be so disgusting.
That's the perfect gun as well in eco situations. They finally fall back and they don't buy up. And it looks like half armors for the entire team. So Hachi could find value. Ginger Man as well. Good on the spot there. Gaming switches for the sheriff. And there comes the dog looking. Doesn't get a scent of anybody and so comes back immediately. Meanwhile, Noodle on the swing with nothing but a classic. Hachi. Beautiful shot as Marshall only needs to get the trade. And Toothless and the rest of the team are going to just TP outside market. Now Noodle, again, doesn't have anything but a classic to work with. And they one gun the Bulldog trying to bark and log. But there's only so much he could do here as Marshall only. And the hunt for the spot tries to get some fams. Stewie confirms 5-1 to Craig.
I'm just going to go ahead and point out that I have not seen Marshall only buy a Marshall even once. You know, it's one of those things that I noticed, and I felt like everyone should notice that with me. And I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. Not that I think the Marshall is a particularly good gun, but if you're going to name yourself something like that, like surely we actually do get to see that coming out. Oh well, unfortunately, not going to be the case. Going to continue buying into rifles, which is probably the correct decision to make. As we head on into round number 7 now, Pandacity actually are able to buy in. A lot of ultimates online as well, so much to work with.
Yeah, but look at this crunch as well in showers. The 2 push up through the shower while the secondary squad pushes into TP, and that completely switched the advantage onto Craig's side. And that's the sort of crunch you're looking for from these veterans. Ginger Man all alone inside here, but it's all good. Nothing's happening. He can basically clear out the rest of the team, and he does. Flawless round from Craig, 6-1.
You know what? This is what they have been known for. These crazy aggressive pushes. Showers crunches are actually, I feel like it's such an maybe not underrated, but underutilized strategy. Like that's what this map really lends itself to, is these nasty TP crunches. So it's cool to see that Craig are really kind of taking full advantage of the map's geometry and what you're able to accomplish. Of course, that is a kind of a one and done use case scenario. Now Pandacity moving their way towards B, split push. Economy not really on their side. This first engagement's going to be important.
And it looks like it's going to be a walk up here by Stale. Might
God.
disrespect the smoke. And Rocket almost whooping that. Does confirm the kill though. Scary situation for Pandacity. They are on the positive. Horn doesn't spot anybody. Only 2 players here, but it does feel like you're pushing through a wall because of all the utility that they're using. Toothless again on the walk up. Gets the kill. And that's the Seekers up. Meanwhile, Pandacity Gaming is gonna get a kill on the site, but Toothless is gonna walk back from long. Hachi is gonna come in for the assist, and now there's only 1 remaining. Craig, numbers disadvantage, and still managed to pull out the round. Toothless with such an amazing performance. 4 kills again. It's 7-1.
I mean, this is starting to look oppressive. Pandacity just cannot set a foot anywhere on this map. Craig have locked them out completely, and it's not even with the double sentinel that I had initially anticipated, right? It's being aggressive. It's taking early control. And the fact is, they're kind of running circles around Pandacity because yes, okay, they'll lose a player early on, but their ability to stabilize and to reaggress onto a site with their utility is currently just completely unmatched.
Yeah, and you think with the breach, oh my god.
Calm down, Hachi.
Oh man, and that's how the round begins. It's looking like the beginning at the end. For Pandacity has more kill fall. And now 1 remaining, can't even get some damage done. Tail sheaves it up. And it's 8-1.
I mean, this is certainly a lot more in line with what I was expecting when we came in on Ascent. I was actually a little bit surprised that we saw Pandacity get that many rounds. I was surprised to see them looking so good, but unfortunately, they couldn't keep that up. They haven't been able to find that same bit of magic. And again, I'm going to, bring it back to what I was saying a bit earlier about Craig getting overconfident. And I think that, we moved on to the second map and they were like, all right, guys, let's stop messing around now. Let's take this a bit more seriously. And this is the kind of dominant fashion that we do expect from a team as incredibly experienced as this.
Yeah, and the confidence is just oozing from this team now. Stale getting 2 kills uncontested. Aftershock probably going to push through it out, and it does. But he's got a friend here. And so these pushes, this utility usage is just impossible. And on the other side, there's a lurk and a crunch. Ginger Man with 2. And now Rocket left all alone. Beautiful flash gets the kill. That's a sexy one, but Ginger Man's just gonna shut him down. It's 9-1.
Oh, goodness. On the verge of double digits, and it's only the first half. Pandacity haven't been able to pick up a single round since that one that they got back in round 4. Now, there's 2 rounds left in this half, and it's certainly not impossible, but it's going to take a lot from Pandacity. We need to see them kind of clean up a little bit. Yeah, we did see them get to actually use some of their ultimates. There was a moment where it felt like they weren't even going to be given the opportunity to do so. They have a Nightfall online, which could garner them a ton of space, but they have to utilize it perfectly.
Yeah, Pandacity, all their protocols are just falling by the wayside. Nobody can see. It is a 2-for-2 though. So it's still a positive position here for Pandacity, but they're being hunted down. This is unfair. Bomb goes down on the B side. The entirety of Craig are basically the attackers now, as they're pushing from a different direction. Meanwhile, Mister's walking up to their spawn, and that's a lot of information. The rest of Pandacity to Marshall only, actually, as it's just 2 remaining. Lovely shot, and there's the first kill. Oh, Pandacity puts them in such a good position, but the shot is dead at the worst of times. And the round is all but over of one mistake.
At what point?
10-1 to Craig.
At what point do we start calling this cyberbullying?
Last round before the switch.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like we might be there. I feel like we might be there. And you know what? The one thing that I will give to Craig is that they're still taking these rounds seriously. I've been hearing stories about teams not using their guns and like just really hard trolling some of the other teams that they are doing really well against. But kudos to Craig. They continue to be the consummate professionals from start to finish. It's so good to see that we do actually have teams that continue to, you know, keep up the good sportsmanship, whereas some might not. But sportsmanship, I mean, you can afford to be sportsmanlike when you are just this dominant.
Oh, it's not pretty, and the spike is so far away from the rest of the team. That's orbital laser. You do get the stop though, as Ginger-Man's gonna get another kill. Mist and Rocket are trying to salvage something, but the round is over. It's 11-1, and this is mental degradation by Craig.
I mean, this is definitely a painful way for this to go. Now into the second half, Pandacity need 10 rounds in a row just to even out the scoreline. And then from there, they still need another 2 to get us into map 3. And that's all assuming that they don't drop a single round. Because if they drop 1 round, then they cannot win in regulation. And of course, if they drop 2 rounds, then that's it. That's the end of their run here. Well, they'll still have the 3rd, 4th place decider, but it's the end of their run in the upper bracket. So a devastating position to be in no matter how you look at it. But we're not there yet. We still have those few rounds to get through, and perhaps Pandacity can mount that miracle.
Yeah, and it starts with this defense. Lovely swinging into the paint shells in the fault line. But the Shower's entry is good. And with the double initiator composition like this, your entry is just too clean. Because both of them can run through uncontested with all the utility to take the space. And now, Pandacity, nothing to work with. Marshall only all alone. And it's looking grim and grim as the rounds go.
Pandacity have to force up here. They literally have no other options. It is match and series point here. Craig on the verge of securing themselves a spot in that grand final. One more opportunity to win the lion's share of a 30,000 Rand prize pool. But for Pandacity, this could be the end of that train. 3 stingers, a Bucky. Of course, no ultimates to speak of because it's only round 2. They have very, very little.
Oh, and it gets smaller and smaller as time goes on. Beautiful on the trade, but that's a whole gun that you've just lost. It's not even a crazy gun, but you need some advantage. The timing, though, here by Ginger-Man, and that's shut down immediately by Hachi. 4-3. Toothless remains. There's a shotgun and spots the barrel. And immediately decides not to go for it. Ginger-Man and the rest of the boys on the other side, they're completely crushing. Panda City takes the TP. Looking to try and get a timing. Maybe pull and bait some movements. And they bait Noodle into taking the swing. And no matter how beautiful it started, it falls in the end. As Pandacity go down to Craig, 13-1.
I mean, that was really rough. The mind games in that final round, how they continue to run circles. I think it was Ginger-Man that just lived rent-free on the A site for so much of that. But unfortunately, that does mark the end here for Pandacity. They'll drop down into the lower bracket. But that will be Craig securing themselves a spot in our grand final tomorrow. Huge congratulations. And I just want to start off by saying congratulations to every single team that made it this far, that, you know, some of them lived in Cape Town, some of them traveled to Cape Town. So many teams and players made this happen. And then to battle through a grueling day, 4 best of ones per team, and then to continue along, there was the plate bracket, we've got our semi-finals. It's been a phenomenal start to this weekend, and I think we've seen some fantastic talent. Of course, we know about our famous quote-unquote talent, the Craig players, the ones that we are so incredibly familiar with, but we always have to kind of give flowers to the newer players. Someone like Mist, I don't think I've ever actually seen Mist. And that, I mean, part of that is because obviously not a lot of games do get to be broadcasted, but I would assume that he's also relatively new in the scene, relatively. So it's really cool to see that we do have a lot of up-and-coming players coming through and showing what they themselves are made of. Panda, any last thoughts from you about today's action?
I mean, it's been a great day of games from start to finish. Like you said, shout out to all the players that just flew in or, you know, came in today ready, prepared. I heard about a lot of scrims on the underground that were going on. You know, there's a lot of preparations and things that we don't see as viewers, as casters, as analysts, that a lot of these teams do in order to get here. And so it's a big shout out to all of the teams and all of the players, and everybody that's here, you know, deserves to be here and fought for their spot to be here. That being said, I am excited to see whoever goes through to face off against Craig. I've fought for 4 years, every single year, that these guys need to get taken down, dethroned, shuffled out, under the rug, get rid of. They're old, man. Their bones are cracking. They've been playing forever. This man Hachi started at Fortnite. Now he's here. Like, get rid of them, man. But yeah, great players all around. Great players from all the teams. And we are looking forward to the rest of AGC. Again, shout out ACGL.
Yes, thank you so much, ACGL, for making this happen. Reminder, guys, one more time, this is happening live on LAN at the Grand West Arena in Cape Town. So if you are in the area, make sure to go through tomorrow. We'll have our we'll have 3 matches for you: the semi-final, the 3rd, 4th place decider, and our grand final on the other side of it. The casters will be live in the venue as well, so it really is going to be incredibly hype. And you can also go check out one of the other, I want to say, 7 titles that are being played at the arena. There's so much action to be a part of. Today we had the Fortnite, there's Rocket League going on, there's been Brawlhalla, there's been COD Mobile. I mean, there's been so much gaming action. So guys, please do make your way over there if you can. Entrance is free, but spots are limited. Again, thank you so much to our big partners, the City of Cape Town, for making this all possible, and of course for Turtle Beach for being one of our audio suppliers for the weekend. Thank you all for viewing and being here, and I'm sure that we will see you all back here tomorrow for the conclusion, the epic conclusion of AGC 25 Valorant. We'll see you tomorrow.